Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a while and I miss you guys so much. I'm looking grown and sexy. Wanna know why? You wanna know why? Cause your girl just had a birthday. Shout out to my hairstylist K Danielle for getting me right, but let me get through this video, okay? So the topics may or may not be in order, but yeah, number one, and I live by this rule, okay? Always be who you are, with or without a man involved, with or without a friend involved. Just always be who you are no matter who is around. Like, don't just only get dressed for occasions. Like, you are the occasion. Make sure you keep yourself up. Do what you can within your means. Don't let anybody change that. Like, always be who you are. Like, I don't know, some people think like since you came around and you started being a certain way, and it's like, no, I always been this way too. That I really got to learn. I had to learn this. I learned this like some years ago. Don't clear up your schedule for somebody unless they respect your time. And what I mean by this, let's say we're supposed to go on a date with somebody, right? And they say, oh yeah, be ready at this time. I guess this mostly applies to women, and it depends on how fast you get ready. So for most women, we need like 2 or 3 hours to get ready, especially if we're gonna do the makeup and the whole shebang, right? So with that being said, let's say you have something planned for that day. Make sure you do what you need to do in that day, like far as your errands. Do what you need to do if you already had it planned. Don't clear up that schedule just because you and this person supposed to go on a date. You soon realize no one deserves this type of energy from you if they do not respect your time. So this is something I stopped doing. Another thing I learned, if it's 2 options and you don't want neither, you don't have to choose either option. You can just walk away. If you're walking away, you have to be prepared to walk away with nothing, and that's okay too. Oh, none of these options appeal to me, so I just rather not have either. That's okay too. But people don't understand that, and people don't like when other people have that type of mindset of, I'll just rather walk away with nothing than to walk away with something that I don't actually want. So I was getting a tattoo, right? I didn't really plan on getting a tattoo that day, but the man was like, oh, here are all the options, whatever, what type of vibe you looking for, da da da. So they was showing me all the options, and I'm like, I didn't really like them. Mind you, this is a tattoo that's gonna be on my body permanently for years and years to come, right? So he had her to say, oh, you can't always get what you want. And I'm like, what are you talking about? If I don't want this or that, I don't have to get either. It's a permanent tattoo going on my body. Like, if I don't want it, I don't want it. Like, and then on top of that, that wasn't even my initial plan to get a tattoo. If I had planned to get a tattoo, I would have already knew what I wanted. But yeah, that kind of like threw me off. Cause it's like, if I don't want either, I don't have to choose either. Like, I could just walk away with nothing and be fine. Take small, calculated risks. When you do things in little increments, you don't realize those little increments are adding up, right? So if you're used to taking small risks on a daily, when it comes to the big risk, it's still gonna feel like, but it won't be as bad because you're used to taking risks. And I just learned this based off of the job that I'm currently at. Every day someone's asking, if I do this, will this happen? And if I do that, will that happen? At this point, we don't know until it happens. So you have to do something. Like, you have to do something and see what the outcome would be. Okay, let's get into finance a little bit. I learned this, I've been doing this for some years now, is to put your money in a high yield savings if you're not ready to start investing. So at least you can make some type of interest on your money instead of it just sitting in the bank and you getting like 1% interest. Depending on how much money you have for a high yield savings. They pay you throughout the month, but when they advertise a high yield savings, depending on how much money you put in the calculator, it could be like 500 a year plus more depending on how much money you have in there. But that's 500 a year across 12 months, so that's probably like $50 every month depending on how much money you put in there. I'm just a girl. It's different instance where I'm just a girl applies, but I feel like it should not apply to your finance, and it should not apply to you spending money just because. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Unless you're actually just a girl in high school, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Like, as you get older, you have a lot more responsibilities, and you need to be wiser with your money making decisions and where you spend your money. You need to take account of where you're spending your money. Basically do your own personal accounting, and it's not that hard either. It could be as simple as every time you get paid, you're separating this money to here, you're doing this to here. Okay, so this is a big one that I learned, especially with moving into my own place and having my own space. It's a lot of things that you have to do that you're not gonna want to do. But it's like, if you don't do it, who else is gonna do it? How else is it gonna get done unless you pay somebody? So that's a big one, especially with adulting in life. It's a lot of things that you have to do that you don't really want to do. You don't. What I tell you, it's like you rather scream and cry than to do this thing. Also, what goes hand in hand with that, it's so important to do things that you actually want to do every once in a while, and do things for you, just to pour back into your cup, of course. Listen, it gets overstimulating and exhausting. Another thing I guess I came across is learning discipline. It's different ways to learn discipline. Like, for example, with TikTok, I deleted it off my phone, but it's downloaded now because the whole ban thing, I was not playing around with that. But before, I had TikTok deleted off my phone just so I don't scroll for hours on my phone, and I put it on my iPad, and that has been helping a lot. And also, let's say you have to get up and study at a certain time, put a timer on your phone so that when it's time to do that, you get up and you do it. And I also do this with other things, like, for example, with when it's time to edit my videos, when it's time to do something I don't want to do, I make sure I alert myself. When I'm alerted, I'm more likely to do the thing. That just works for me. I learned that a lot of people are not emotionally intelligent. Some people are just not intelligent, period. Like, for example, someone could go to college and have a college degree. More than likely, they're only smart in what they study. They're not smart in real life scenarios. They're not smart, like street smart. Okay, I just feel like the biggest sign of someone that's not emotionally intelligent, they just listen to respond instead of listening to actually hear you and understand what you're saying. And I'm not doing those types of people in my life. I can't do those types of people in my life anymore. Acceptance. You have to accept things for what they are, even when you don't want to. Because if you don't accept things for how they're going, it's just gonna delay your healing process. And the more you wish something was different, the more you're stuck in that situation mentally. So in order to move on, right, you have to accept things for what they are, and you can't wish for them to be any different. You can't be like, dang, but what if so-and-so did this? And dang, what if this person wasn't like that? And dang, what if this never happened? You can't think the what ifs and hoping for a different outcome. More than likely, it depends on the person's character. If you stop messing with somebody, it's because it's their character, and they kept doing the same things that you didn't like and you couldn't tolerate anymore. So you have to accept it for what it is, even though you may have deep love for that person. You gotta accept it. So another one that is tough and a hard pill to swallow, just because like you want people to celebrate you, and it's your day. Out of all 365 days, it is your day. As you get older, you have to learn how to be okay with making your birthday special and not looking to other people to make it special, because when you do that, it brings in a lot of disappointment, a lot of hurts. And like they say, women always falling out because of, you know, each other's birthday. But how I feel, it's like y'all be knowing it's your friend's birthday. Your friend's birthday is the same day every year. It's the same day every year. Learn to be by yourself for a few months, few years. And when I say by yourself, I'm saying like outside of being in a romantic relationship. Well, it's easier for women to get lost and tied into the man versus the man getting lost and tied into the woman. Essentially, you just need to take that time to figure out yourself and who you are first. And I feel like it goes hand in hand. Like you need to work on having your own backbone, creating your own values and beliefs. You know, that's why I say it's very important and very essential, and a part of growing as well. If you're always attached to somebody and the next person you come across, you're attached to them, it's like if you don't know yourself, you're just gonna morph yourself into that person and whatever they like. Once they're gone, you're gonna feel depleted and empty because initially you never really knew yourself. Also, taking this time to be by yourself romantically builds a lot of strength and endurance. But I'm talking about like mentally, self-esteem wise. When you're being by yourself, you learn how to pour into yourself, and that's when you figure out what you actually need from a partner. But another thing that I had to learn, and it was a tough pill to swallow, to the point I'm just like, I'm a little shook. But just because you and a person looks equally yoked on paper does not mean that y'all can be equally yoked mentally as well, and like their characteristics and their values. That's why that is such an important thing to look for, not only in friendships but romantic relationships as well. But also another thing that I learned is you can't be quick to react on your emotions, but at the same time, if someone keeps poking at you or they make you feel some type of way, you'll probably feel a lot better if you actually told them and spoke to them about it instead of trying to be the bigger person. More than likely, when you're being the bigger person and you don't speak up for yourself, it's just gonna build resentment, feel some type of way within yourself that you didn't get to speak up. So I feel like speaking up is a big part of being an adult. It's now your turn to stand up for yourself. Also too, it kind of brings closure, and just because someone apologizes to you as well doesn't mean you have to rekindle the relationship. It can just be it is what it is type of situation. As an adult, you can now make your own rules, especially if you're not in the household of your parents. You can make your own rules. You can make your own routines. You can do whatever you want. If you want to mix 2 bowls of cereals, you can do that. If you want to stand on the counter, you can do that. Free will. You can do whatever you want. I feel like once you realize that, it's like you get from under the veil or this imaginary way of doing things. Because you can unlearn a lot of stuff. As an adult, it's up to you to unlearn a lot of things and come to realization that just because my parents did this a certain way doesn't mean it was right. And I could unlearn it, and I could have a different role in my household and do things differently and govern myself in a different way. Reprogram your mind. Another thing I learned, reading books helped change my life. Honestly, it helped me make connections of things. And like, let's say for example, in your inner circle, you may be thinking of something and you're talking to your friends, your family about it. They don't know what you're talking about, right? It wasn't until I started reading books is when a lot of things started to make sense. I'm like, oh, so that's why this and that. I'm like, oh, that's why. Like, it helps you make connections in your real life and your real experience that the next person may not understand, and only you can understand. That's why I love love reading books so much. I read all these books that's on here, and it's a lot more books that I've read, but these are the ones that I actually own. You don't have to buy books. You can go to the library. I know I do, because I got tired of buying the books, honestly, because they add up, okay? They add up. Send me some book recommendations that you would like for me to read. I'll read them. For real. Breaking generational curses does not have to be this big grand thing. It could be as little as you using a dishwasher. And also, I'm a woman that is doing for herself that more than likely generations before could not do. Another thing with breaking generational curse, it could be with your finances, making sure that you manage your finances well. It could be as little as decorating your space, because I know some people that wasn't a thing growing up. Another thing is throwing unnecessary junk away, especially like if you were an immigrant. They're used to being hoarders. Getting rid of clutter, getting rid of mess, making sure that your space is always clean, even if it's a small space. That's breaking a generational curse for some people. Think of other ways that, you know, in your family that you would be considered breaking a generational curse. Another thing that I learned is things are accumulated over time. Let's say, for example, my wardrobe in my closet, I purchased those clothes over time. Even a piece of jewelry, like this piece of jewelry I had since I was a baby. It can also be a piece of furniture as well in your house that could have been passed down from generations. That's what people mean by when you purchase something, it's an investment. Because some people use that word so loosely. Some people think just because you have all these things that you bought it all in the same day and you just this rich grand person. That could be the case as well. You need to change your mindset into thinking that you can get anything that you want. If you want a purse, you gotta save up for it to get it, and you may have that purse for years and years to come. Another one, I don't know what number this is. Never listen to what the masses are saying, especially those people that is always in fear. Like any content that's about being scared, and like, for example, it could even be your parents. It could be somebody on the news saying, oh, somebody just got shot and killed in Puerto Rico, and you're supposed to be going on a trip in Puerto Rico, and your parents scared, talking about don't go because this happened. So that goes hand in hand with taking risks. Like, you have to live your life. You can't live your life being scared. So that's another thing, because it's going to be a lot of stuff that you're going to be scared to do. It also ties into the economy as well. If everybody's been saying that the economy has been bad for some years, don't listen to what those people are saying. Focus on what's in front of you and focus on changing what's around you. They do it on purpose. They want us to be scared. But yeah, y'all, I think that is all that I have. It's probably more than 24. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of the video, and I hope you guys took some valuable information. I'm hoping to do more videos like these where we're talking to each other one-on-one, you know what I'm saying? And hopefully one day maybe go live. Who knows, because I gotta keep up with y'all. I gotta see how you doing. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.